Good morning and welcome to lesson 43. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. I like these God lessons. They sort of put things in perspective. When I was a young fella, I spent many years and tried many different paths of coming to know God, I guess. I even went to a mosque once and I didn't understand it, but it was all in Arabic, I think. But temples and mosques and churches, trying to find out what God was, like I remember making a conscious decision at some point that I was going to go to these places and learn and see what I came up with on my own 2 cents, But coffee delivery. Thank you. And then in these lessons, like God is my source, I cannot see apart from him, you get definite clear insights about the nature of God, about the action of God mind, and how that is useful to, let's say, an individual in their transformation. So exciting stuff. Don't have to go anywhere. It's all inside. All right. Perception is not an attribute of God. Right? Perception is not an attribute of God. His is the realm of knowledge. Yet he has created the Holy Spirit as the mediator between perception and knowledge. Without this link with God, perception would have replaced knowledge forever in your minds. With this link with God, perception will become so changed and purified that it will lead to knowledge. That is its function as the Holy Spirit sees it. Therefore, that is its function in truth. In God, you cannot see. Perception has no function in God and does not exist. Right? How cool is that? When you're one with everything, what is there to see? In God, you cannot see. Perception has no function in God and does not exist. Yet in salvation, which is the undoing of what never was, perception has a mighty purpose. Made by the Son of God for an unholy purpose, it must become the means for the restoration of his holiness to his awareness. I'll read that again. Made by the Son of God for an unholy purpose, it becomes the means for the restoration of his holiness to his awareness. Perception has no meaning, right? Lesson 1, nothing I see means anything. Yet does the Holy Spirit give it a meaning very close to God's. Healed perception becomes the means by which the Son of God forgives his brother and thus forgives himself. You cannot see apart from God because you cannot be apart from God. Whatever you do, you do in him, because whatever you think with his mind. If vision is real, and it is real to the extent to which it shares the Holy Spirit's purpose, then you cannot see apart from God. 3 5-minute practice periods are required today, one as early as possible and another as late as possible. The third may be undertaken at the most convenient and suitable time which circumstances and readiness permit. At the beginning of these practice periods, repeat the idea to yourself with eyes open, then glance around you for a short time, applying the idea specifically to what you see. 4 or 5 subjects for this phase of the exercises are sufficient. You might say, for example, God is my source. I cannot see this desk apart from him. God is my source. I cannot see this picture apart from him. Although this part of the exercise period should be relatively short, be sure that you select the subjects for this phase indiscriminately without self-directed inclusion or exclusion. For the second and longer phase of the exercise period, close your eyes, repeat today's idea again, and then let whatever relevant thoughts occur to you add to the idea in your own personal way. Such thoughts as, I see through the eyes of forgiveness. I see the world as blessed. The world can show me myself. I see my own thoughts which are like God's. Oh, come here. Yeah. I'll just, anyone out there who's a bit of a fan of canines, we've got a new member of the family. Ugh. There he is. It's Dusty. Hey, buddy. Say hello. Dusty's 13 weeks old. Oh, there you go. Or any thought more or less directly to today's idea is suitable. The thoughts need not bear an obvious relationship to the idea, but they should not be in opposition to it. If you should find your mind wandering, being distracted by dogs, etc., if you hang on. What are you doing, mate? I'm trying to do the lesson. If you should find your mind wandering, if you begin to be aware of thoughts which are clearly out of accord with today's idea, or if you seem to be unable to think of anything, open your eyes, repeat the first phase, and then try the second phase again. Do not allow any protracted period to occur in which you become preoccupied with irrelevant dog thoughts. Return to the first phase of the exercises as often as necessary to prevent this. In applying today's idea in the shorter practice periods, the form may vary according to the circumstances and situations in which you find yourself during the day. When you are with someone else, for example, try to remember to tell him silently, "God is my source. I cannot see you apart from him." This form is equally applicable to strangers and to those you know well. Try, in fact, not to make distinctions of this kind at all. The idea should also be applied throughout the day to various situations and events which may occur, particularly to those from which distress you in any way. For this kind of application, use this form. God is my source. I cannot see this apart from him. If no particular subject presents itself to your awareness, merely repeat the idea in its original form. Try today not to allow long periods of time to slip by without remembering today's idea and thus remembering your function. God is my source. I cannot see this dog apart from him. All right, I love you. We'll leave it there. That's a long one today. 2 pages. And tomorrow, lesson 44, God is the light in which I see. Awesome. So I hope you're enjoying these lessons. I know Dusty is, wherever he's gone. And see you tomorrow.